"Get out of my house, or I'm calling the police." That was the first thing out of my mouth, but it wasn't me saying it. No, it was Diane Rathel, screaming straight into my face at 6 in the damn morning, like I was the intruder. You ever wake up and feel like the whole world's upside down? Try stumbling into your own kitchen in your boxers, flashlight in hand, just to find the HOA president standing there with a clipboard, quoting bylaws, and taking photos of your trash can. The back door lock's busted, muddy footprints everywhere, and my 7-year-old is asleep upstairs, totally unaware that some stranger is building a case against his family before breakfast. Let me back up a second. I'm a deputy sheriff, been one for almost a decade. I know what a real violation looks like. Diane's in my kitchen, waving a laminated bylaw card like it's a badge, telling me my trash can's the wrong color, my porch light's too bright, and the little potted plant my late wife left me breaks the aesthetic uniformity rule. That plant, Emma's succulent. Owen still talks to it sometimes, convinced his mom can hear him. And this woman wants it gone? The anger in my chest felt like a punch, but I forced myself calm, pulled out my phone, and started recording. "You enter my home without permission," I said, trying to sound steady. "That's criminal trespass under state law." Diane just smiled. One of those practiced, smug little grins that said she'd done her homework. "Section 14.3, she repeated, quoting chapter and verse from the HOA bylaws. "Board president has inspection rights." She even held up a key, same as mine, pink keychain and all. Turns out, the previous owner handed over a spare to the HOA for emergencies. Nobody told me that when I bought the house. I moved to Meadowbrook Estates for the same reason anyone does. Better schools, safer streets, a shot at a new beginning for me and Owen after Emma died. Instead, I got Diane marching through my living room like she owns the place, jotting notes and snapping photos like she's investigating a murder scene. "You'll receive formal notice of these violations in 72 hours, she says, breezing past me toward stairs. I block her way. If she wakes my son, this whole thing explodes. She just smiles wider, ratcheting up the threat. 7 visible violations. $3,500 a day until remediated. That number is absurd. I make decent money as a deputy, but I don't have thousands to burn on trash can colors and porch plants. I'll be filing a complaint, I said. And if you come back without permission, I'll press charges. Diane laughs. Actually laughs, glassy and sharp. I'm the bore, Mr. Brennan. They vote how I vote. Then she leaves, tossing a final grenade over her shoulder. It'd be a shame if legal complications forced you to sell. For a long minute, I just stood there, heart hammering. The footprints on my floor felt like an invasion. I had to make everything look normal before Owen came downstairs. Had to act like nothing happened, even as my hands shook. What would I even tell the cops? HOA president with a legal key, taking pictures of my coffee maker. It sounded petty, even to me, but it wasn't. I knew the pattern, a predator testing boundaries, seeing how far she could go before someone pushed back. So I pushed back, installed a Ring camera, documented everything, time, date, photos of her violations, proof that everything in my house was by the book. If Diane wanted a war of documentation, I'd give her a war, one that would hold up in court, not just the HOA meeting. Owen appeared for breakfast, still in those 2 small dinosaur pajamas, his eyes drifting to the new camera by the door. Why'd you put that up? He asked, and I told him, just a little extra security, keeps us safe. He nodded, but I could see the worry. He's learned to read me in ways a kid shouldn't have to. The first violation notice hit my mailbox that afternoon. 7 violations, $3,500 per day, starting tomorrow. The letter was all legalese and threats, complete with photos from inside my home. I called a real estate attorney, left a message, then just sat and stared at the paper, feeling the invasion all over again. Owen asked about the camera again that night. I told him the truth. Sometimes people try to take things that don't belong to them. He nodded, wise beyond his years, and ate his cereal in silence. By the time the second violation landed, grass height, this time $300 for being half an inch too tall, I was ready. I measured every blade, documented every inch, filed an appeal. Denied within an hour, no explanation. She wanted me to give up. I didn't. The third notice was for exterior paint color. I matched it to the approved shade, got a written statement from the hardware store, photographed every angle. More documentation, more bricks in the wall I was building. Then, a twist, Detective Miles Cordell, a friend from work, called. "She's asking about your professional conduct," he said, meaning Diane was trying to ruin my reputation, too. Told her to file a complaint through official channels. "But Fletcher, what's going on?" I told him everything. The break-in, the fines, the threats. "You need 3 things for harassment: pattern, malice, and damage," he said. "You've got a pattern. Start documenting the rest." The next HOA meeting was a circus. Diane ran a slideshow of my supposed violations, painting me as the troublemaker, the threat to property values. When I tried to speak up, she tried to silence me, but I kept going, held up photos, evidence, called out the sham process. That's when Grant Holloway, former board member, slipped me a warning. "She'll make you pay for embarrassing her." She drove 4 families out in 3 years. Later that week, Owen came home from school, shoulders slumped. "Tyler's mom says we're bad neighbors. He can't come to my birthday." He cried, and I held him, promising we weren't the problem. But the damage was real, measurable. This was beyond neighborly squabbles. Then came the most petty violation, our old bird feeder. Diane wanted it gone, claiming it broke some rule. That feeder was Emma's, and Owen loved filling it, thinking the Cardinals were messages from his mom. That's when I called a civil rights attorney. "You've got a strong harassment case," she said, "but criminal charges are faster, easier. You're a deputy. Document everything like at a crime scene." So I did. I got help from Rosemary, the elderly neighbor. She showed up one morning with a key and a story, 12 years of evidence, dozens of families targeted, a file box full of notices, appeals, threats, even a death certificate. Her husband's stress-induced. "I've been waiting for someone brave enough to use this," she said. She did it to us all. Suddenly, this wasn't just my fight. It was a conspiracy. I took photos of every document, built a case file so thick it made my head spin. Then, one morning, my mailbox was smashed open. Mail scattered everywhere, IRS letters and bank statements torn open. That wasn't just vandalism. It was federal mail tampering. I called the postal inspector. The Ring camera caught Diane at 3:17 a.m., gloves on, screwdriver in hand. Her face and license plate were clear as day. With federal charges in play and the evidence of a decade-long pattern, it was finally time. But Miles wanted to catch her in the act. No wiggle room, no misunderstanding. So he set a trap. I posted on social media that I was leaving town for Owen's health. Cameras all over the house, everything by the book. Miles and the DA signed off. The sheriff was in. It was time to end this. Diane took the bait. She waited for the house to be empty, parked 2 doors down, and let herself in with her key. The cameras caught every move, her searching, photographing, prying open my lock filing cabinet. That was felony burglary, plain and simple. We moved in. I pulled up in my uniform, patrol car lights flashing, neighbors pouring onto their lawns. Diane tried to slip out the back, but I was there, badge and all. "You are under arrest for burglary, trespassing, identity theft attempt, and stalking. You have the right to remain silent." Miles cuffed her, read her rights, while the neighbors who believed her lies stood in shock. Her husband showed up, lawyered up, but it didn't matter. The DA had everything: videos, emails, victim statements, 12 years of abuse. Other neighbors, emboldened, came forward with their stories. The dam broke. This wasn't about a plant or a mailbox. This was about systematic abuse of power, a reign of terror finally ending. Diane faced the music. Plea deal or trial. Either way, she was done. She pleaded guilty to 4 charges: burglary, stalking, criminal threats, federal mail tampering. 6 months in federal custody, 3 years probation, a permanent restraining order, $75,000 in restitution, barred from HOA leadership for life. But the real victory came at the emergency HOA meeting. The board was reformed, the rules rewritten for transparency and fairness. Grant was elected president. Rosemary's garden flourished. No one complained. The neighborhood healed, slowly. Kids played together again. People apologized, some out of guilt, some out of relief. Owen got invited to birthday parties. The cameras came down. I could finally breathe. 6 months later, Diane was a ghost, seen once in a grocery store, but no longer a threat. The money from the settlement went to Owen's college fund and a few therapy sessions, because resilience isn't about forgetting, it's about learning to carry the weight. I got promoted too, not for surviving Diane, but for doing my job. Still, I think it mattered. On a cold December morning, we built a snowman in the yard. Neighbors joined, kids laughing, hot chocolate passed around. For the first time, Meadowbrook Estates felt like a neighborhood again, not a prison. Rosemary planted a wild garden in her front yard, colors exploding everywhere. Nobody sent her a violation notice. Owen and I hung a new bird feeder, a big copper-roofed one that he picked out himself. That afternoon, a cardinal landed on it, and he whispered, "It's Mom." I believed him. Sometimes justice isn't about courtrooms and handcuffs. Sometimes it's a quiet house, a sleeping child, a red bird in the yard. So, here's my question for you. When authority turns toxic, when the people in charge become the threat, what would you do? Would you fight back, even if it meant standing alone for a while? Drop your story in the comments. Because nobody should feel afraid in their own home. Not from criminals, and sure as hell not from the people meant to protect it.